Moving on now to an educator from Texas, Dr. James Whitfield, the first black principal at the mostly white Colleyville Heritage High School in North Texas, is no longer working at the school. This all started back in 2020 when, upset over the deaths of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and Breonna Taylor, he wrote a letter to the school community, and in it, Dr. Whitfield declared systemic racism alive and well. Now he is the former principal at Colleyville Heritage High School. He was accused of teaching and promoting critical race theory. Dr. Whitfield joins us now live. Doctor, I've read a lot of stories on your plight here. It's an honor to talk with you in person. I'd like to start, I guess, with the fact that the students rallied around you, but it wasn't enough. And now that you've had a little time to digest this, I'm sure you've been asked, but what did you do wrong? What do you tell people?
Well, Joe, it's great to be with you. Thanks for having me on. And like you said, it was such an honor. You know, what I do as a school leader is for kids. They're my why. They're my driver, my passion. And to see them step up and support me, and not only me, but their peers, right? Those kids were coming to the table to talk about their experiences and the people that they go to school with, their experiences as marginalized students in those communities. And so it really meant a lot. And as far as, you know, what was wrong, you know, I think what we've seen across the country is we've seen people brand this critical race theory boogeyman as anything that is related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And of course, as a public school educator, those are things that are front and center as I try to create that environment with my colleagues to provide a school experience that speaks to those things each day. And so, you know, they've said the playbook is out. It's really, they know it's not critical race theory. It's anything related to discussions of racism, discussions about diversity, equity, and inclusion. They're going to brand any of those things as CRT.
So were they accusing you of teaching CRT, or did this all stem from the letter in 2020? And when you wrote that letter, did you have any idea it was going to lead to all this?
That's a great question. So when I wrote the letter in 2020, that was on the heels of George Floyd being murdered in the streets of Minneapolis. And what I saw after that was people coming together in ways that I had never seen before. And I was, at the time, almost 42 years old. I had people coming to me and saying, hey, what can we do to learn? What can we do to grow? What can we do to stomp out racism? This was all music to my ears because I knew that these were things, as a black man in America, I knew that these were conversations that we needed to have. And to see people more open and welcome to those opportunities was very encouraging to me. But so, as time went on, people tried to, you know, take that moment. And it's like any time in our history, anytime there's a moment of progress, there's a backlash. And what we're seeing right now is that backlash.
So there's a lot of debate, Doctor, over what CRT even is and what can and can't be taught or how it's taught. Here's what the podcaster Keisha King told us earlier this week.
When you take Black history and then you say today that simply by being white, you automatically are an oppressor or responsible for the history of your white ancestors, that's a problem. Or if you are Black and you automatically are deemed oppressed, that is a problem. That is not the majority of what Black people are doing today. We are actually doing very well.
I'll let you tackle that to start, Doctor, but I did have another quote after that about this I wanted to ask you about too.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the dog whistle, right? That we've heard time and time again, that this is about somehow making certain individuals feel bad about their ancestry or somehow making others feel oppressed because at one point they were enslaved people. That's not what teaching true and accurate history is. And I would dare say that not delving into these topics and addressing the systemic inequalities that have existed over time. This is not, you know, some made up thing. You know, when we're talking about critical race theory, which what they're talking about is not, it's about investigating those systemic inequalities that are inherent within systems in our country. And yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about in the classroom is learning and I guess challenging your beliefs and learning more about where we've been and how it impacts, I guess, where we are now, which goes to this Mississippi law student I wanted to get you on as well, who identifies herself as conservative and says her CRT class was the most impactful class she's taken. There's more of what she says there. Why are they so fearful of people just theorizing and just thinking? That, to me, Doctor, is what the key is to all of this. What are people so afraid of?
Yeah, I read Brittany's piece, and it was really, it confirmed like what we know to be true. When people have an open mind and heart about things, you know, it just doesn't, this is not an issue of whether you're conservative or liberal. There's information there, and it's important for us to investigate these things. And her story particularly, you know, it's a confirmation that if we take the time to sit and listen and investigate, you know, with facts, you know, the power of learning, because only when we sit and learn about these issues and really have open, honest dialogue can we ever grow. Right. And that's all anyone desires to do.
Doctor, I'm literally out of time, but I just want to know, will you be a principal again, or are you done?
You know, serving kids that's been my mission, my purpose. I will never count anything out. Okay. Right now, I'm just kind of taking that time for my family, you know, doing some advising, consulting, and those things. But definitely, if an opportunity arises, that's the right opportunity. You'll see me back serving.
All right. Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.